On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about The Great Collapse by Fit For An Autopsy. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters, and we like metal. We like to talk about it. And today, we're back to talk about The Great Collapse by Fit For An Autopsy, which came out in 2017.
Yes, 6 years ago.
6 years ago. And
as of this recording.
Yes, as of this recording, which is coming to you a little bit late just because last week, boy, was just not a good time at the end of the week.
No, the whole week was just...
It was a bad time. It was just very stressful at work. And I was just like, I'm just not in the mood to talk about anything to anyone. I just want to go, home and not say any words for a while. It's just
same with me.
Thursday especially was like I was I had that sort of buzz that you get going when your body is just absolutely pumped full of cortisol.
Right.
It's just like so just high on stress hormones. There was a bunch of stuff that just didn't work right. Technical problems out the wazoo, interruptions. It was just it was a bad time. And I was like, you know what? Let's just take the week off and relax.
Yeah.
Relax tonight.
Let's take the L this week.
Let's take the L.
I have an old friend who's in a band called High on Stress.
High on Stress?
Yeah. A couple of friends. Old friends.
For some, in my head, it's not HIGH. It's like high on, like HION, and it's some sort of like science fiction sort of thing. Like you're like, he shot his high on gun at him, right. like you're a 1950s, science fiction author who's trying to come up with the next laser gun,
right?
And you call it high on. I think that's actually a thing in Starstruck, which is the science fiction universe partially created by Brendan Lee Mulligan's mom. But high on. I think that is a thing in there. They're like high on beams. I don't know what they're supposed to be, but it's
like an ion cannon, but they're high on.
They're high, yeah. Which would make sense because Starstruck is fucking wild. If they were beams that hit you and made you high.
That would be par for the course.
That would be par for the course for Starstruck. God, you on the fucking cable. The cat was on the cable and now she fucked it up. God damn it.
The cat was on the cable.
Cat on the cable. It was a bad time.
Bad time.
At the end of the week last week.
Yes. I had that remote from this place. Yeah.
Yes. They gave you a hat.
Yeah, they gave me a hat and some hot dish.
I mean,
a lot of hot dish.
That's always good.
Yeah. Hot
dish doesn't heal all wounds, but it makes them hurt less. I think.
God, I haven't made a good hot dish in a long time.
What's your favorite kind of hot dish?
I just like a good standard hot dish with just you got your ground beef, you got your cream of mushroom soup.
Yeah.
You got your a bag of frozen peas and carrots. And tater tots on top, and you bake it and put some Lowry's on top of it.
If you're not from the upper Midwest and you don't know what hot dish is, what we are referring to is a specific kind of casserole that is popular in the upper Midwest. And if you refer to a hot dish as a casserole, you will be booted from whatever establishment you're in.
That happened at the remote.
Yeah.
One of the managers there at this place, she's from out of town, and she says, "Oh, you mean casserole?" Everybody just shot her just a steely-eye glare.
You get an outsider.
Yeah.
She doesn't understand.
She's not one of us.
Not one of us. and everybody got a scoop of hot dish and started, menacingly walk toward, you will be one of us. You will understand. Yeah. Hot dish specifically, I guess there's theoretically other kinds of hot dish, but for the most part, it includes tater tots in the recipe.
Right. Tater tots are usually great. Now, there were a couple, because it was a hot dish competition to see who makes the best. There were 9 of them. Yeah. 9 different hot dishes. And one of them was a taco-themed hot dish.
Okay.
Which was different and good and a little bit spicy. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Then there were 2 chicken hot dishes.
Yeah, you mentioned the chicken hot dish. And to me, hot dish has got to have beef in it.
Right, ground beef.
It's got to have ground beef. But I guess you could put whatever kind of meat you want in it in theory. But to me, ground beef has got to be what's in there. But that's the one. Isn't that the one you voted as your favorite?
The chicken one, yeah.
The chicken one, yeah.
One of the chicken ones. It had a nice white wine sauce in it.
White wine.
White wine.
White wine. Yeah. Since we last spoke, this is actually just a couple of days ago. Not since we last spoke, since we last recorded.
Right.
We talk every day at work.
Nope. We pass each other in the hallway. Yeah. Even make eye contact.
Yep. Just completely avoid each other in a quite small building.
Yeah.
I finally downloaded and started playing Armored Core 6.
Sure.
And boy, there's a lot going on in that game. There's a lot to see and manage and do. It feels a little bit, I imagine, on a sensory overload level, a little bit like what I imagine piloting a fighter, like a fighter jet is like when you're in the midst of a dogfight, because there's so many beeps and alarms and like sounds that are constantly being made, like by your robot, when you've locked on or something is locked onto you, or there's missiles being fired at you, and there's so many beeps and there's a lot going on, and that's just on the UI and menu level. And then you get into customizing your robot, and that's a lot. And there's a bunch of different stats, and it's a little overwhelming. There's a lot to try and manage, and it's one of those things where I feel like I'm almost not smart enough to figure out a good build. Because also the other thing about Armored Core, as I understand, is you cannot have, in theory you can, but you're not really meant to have just one build that carries you through the game and that you slowly upgrade the way you would in a Souls game, which is made by the same developer, Dark Souls and Elden Ring and Bloodborne and whatnot. You have, you kind of have certain paths that you can take, and you can, use certain items to respec your character and change that. But okay, you're going to use strength weapons, so you need to increase your strength and use weapons that are appropriate for that. Or you're a dexterity based character, you're going to do that. Or you cast spells, classic role playing stuff. Right. In Armored Core, depending upon what opposition you might be facing in a given mission, or you might end up fighting a boss or something like that, this really big, really tough robot, you're encouraged to change things up and have a whole arsenal of weapons and parts that you can swap out at will between missions. And even if you die in a mission, you can even go into the assembly room and change your robot, and just restart from a checkpoint with a new build for your robot. The problem that presents for me is knowing what changes are appropriate to make that will actually be helpful in a given situation. Right. Because there is so many different things to consider. It's I don't know what would actually be good to switch. What weapon do I switch over to, to make this encounter easier?
And that's the nature of the game.
Yeah. That's kind of just how it goes.
But then you have to go back with your new robot and collect your souls.
No.
Oh.
But yeah, no. I just don't know how to Just don't know how to manage that sort of thing. Because it's like, every other FromSoft game that's been made in the last decade and a half, more or less. You can kind of just do one thing and reasonably expect that to be able to carry you through the game. Like you can use two-handed big weapons and reasonably expect to be able to beat every boss in the game. Some are going to be easier, some are going to be harder. But if you time your dodges right and know what attack windows to use, you're going to be good to go.
Right. Which is kind of what I did with my last Elden Ring play.
You didn't finish.
I've gotten farther because my last play, it's saved on my PS5, which won't turn on now.
Yes.
So I'm back to playing the PS4, which I haven't hooked up to the PlayStation Store, and therefore it hasn't put my old save on there from the cloud, and therefore I've advanced farther than I did with my new playthrough, and it's just me with a giant crusher.
I mean, it's a good weapon.
Yeah, it is.
It's a good weapon.
Yeah.
Your saga with Elden Ring is just... I feel like you are going to be an old man by the time you finally finish this game. You're gonna be like, I finally beat Elden Ring.
So what you're saying is probably sometime this evening.
Yeah, sometime this evening. You're gonna be like, Max, I finally beat Elden Ring. Oh, that's great, Dad. We should probably head back to the care home now.
Yeah, sometime this evening. Exactly.
That's going to happen eventually, where like there's going to, even, numerous generations older than me. And there are already some, 80-year-olds who are, there's Skyrim grandma, for example. Sure. But in the future, how many nursing homes are going to be populated by people who are I was playing this old video game called Elden Ring. Came out when I was a young man.
I was in my 40s.
My favorite. They've managed to port it over to the 14th generation console.
On PlayStation 50.
PlayStation. I got it on my PlayStation 50. I bought it with my retirement money.
I've now, by the way, gotten just about to beating. What the hell is his name?
Radon?
No, I beat Radon.
Oh, you beat Radon.
Yeah, but I need. I'm in the city at the golden version of
Godfrey.
Godfrey, yeah,
yeah. Golden Godfrey's not too bad.
Yeah.
The golden Godfrey.
Right.
Yeah. Golden. What the hell? The Lord's Apparition. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Where it's just like a projection that Morgott put there. Yeah, that one's not too bad. The real one is much harder.
Right. Especially if it rips the lion off.
Yes. But yeah. Haven't really done much of anything else whatsoever. I mean, I did a D&D thing on Sunday. Where I ran a session for a group that I used to play with that includes a guy that we still play with.
Right.
And I think that went okay. I mean, the last part of it was basically just an excuse for me to do a Matt Berry impression.
Right.
The entire time. I had them fight a vampire. I'm just watching you try and level these glasses that you are wearing, that you have committed to wearing.
I have like 15 pairs of reader glasses. All of them have the right stem broken off.
And they're askew. Why are you even wearing them right now? You're not reading anything.
Well, I will, and they're a pain in the ass to put back on.
I suppose.
Because you only have the one stem, so trying to put them back on so I can read. I feel like an old man every time I do it. I gotta put these glasses back on my face.
I think I know they cost money, but I think you need to just get some prescription glasses that are made for your face.
I'm one step closer to that because I actually messaged our owner tonight and figured out my vision plan. I have a vision plan, and I'm going to use that here in the coming days. I'm actually going to go into ophthalmologist.
There you go.
Or optometrist.
An ophthalmologist. They're an eye surgeon, aren't they?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. An optometrist is just a general sort of, someone who can prescribe you some glasses.
Exactly.
I imagine an ophthalmologist can perform the duties of an optometrist.
Duties.
I imagine they could. They're probably capable. I mean, they're probably different specializations in some way, but I don't know. In any case, I think that's the solution. Just if for nothing else, then they will fit your face appropriately and hopefully will not break the one stem off because they're, just readers that are meant to fit some random person's face.
Yeah. Well, I am some random person, but
that's true. But you are a very specific random person. So yeah, that's I think I should probably get new glasses at some point. I feel like I am starting to not be able to see super well out of these. I feel like I've never quite been. I don't think that like the glasses that I have now. I don't think it was ever quite the right prescription. It was supposedly the same as the same as my previous pair of glasses. But I still feel like, because I still have my previous pair of glasses. Right. I still feel like when I put them on that I can see better out of them than the ones I'm wearing now.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if it's just that the lenses are, a different size and therefore a slightly different shape. And so I can't see, quite as well out of them as the first ones. But these ones, I feel like I've never quite been able to see right out of them. And either that or my eyes are just like, well, I was about to say either that or my eyes are just unfocused. That's what that is.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point of glasses. So, yeah, I don't know.
So with me, my night job, we're doing a raffle. We do an annual raffle. And they give away $10,000 and a bunch of other prizes.
$10,000.
But it's up to the staff to sell these raffle tickets at $20 a pop. And we keep a chunk of that that goes into our paycheck.
Yes.
And I'm not good at approaching anyone because I don't really like to talk to people.
Are you about to ask me to buy a raffle ticket?
I'm not.
I assumed you would not do that.
Yeah, I don't want to ask anybody to buy a raffle. And it's fun. It's caused kind of a rift between me and the manager there, who has been my friend for 30 years.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't understand why you can't just walk up and ask someone to buy a raffle ticket. Because I have to put myself in their shoes.
Yeah.
If somebody comes up to me and asks if I want to buy a raffle ticket, my first reflex is to stab them in the throat.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. But
being approached by someone and being asked to buy something, to me is one of the most mundane, unpleasant experiences.
Right.
It is not a significantly unpleasant experience, but it is an unpleasant experience for me, and I do not like it.
Right.
Like, I hate walking through malls and people at kiosks trying to get my attention and talk to me.
Like the skincare people.
I fucking hate that. To be fair, that doesn't happen to me very often.
Right.
Because I feel like I maybe just give off a vibe when I'm walking through the mall that people at kiosks are just like, yeah, I'm going to leave him alone.
I actually willfully, I have a thing that I put on consciously when I go to the mall.
Just look pissed off. Yeah, just
yeah, I do that. I put that look on my face.
You do the Stanley Kubrick stare.
Yes,
you do the Kubrick stare. The lowered head, eyes forward. Have a unpleasant grin on your face. Hi, Joker. Leonard, we're in a world of shit. I am in a world of shit.
Yeah, but no, we're going to be doing that live. They're going to be doing a live giveaway at the bar that I work at.
Yeah,
and it's a circus every year. And so normally it's a Friday night, and then I work Friday nights, and the guy doing the schedule, my buddy there, and he says, okay, well, OJ always works Friday night, and the people helping him put the schedule together all went, ooh, no. Do not schedule him on Friday night.
He's gonna, God damn it, hit my fucking foot on the headphone cord. Continue.
But yeah, no, because It's gonna be a loud room full of people with lots of lights and people.
Just too much.
Too much. I could do it. I could get through it if I had to.
Yeah.
It's a 4-hour shift.
Yeah.
But Tina, the assistant manager there, the ass man, she said, maybe a different day that week.
Maybe a different day.
Yeah.
I feel like the selling of the raffle tickets would be easier at a time like that, where it's like, oh, everybody who walks in knows that this is a thing that's happening tonight.
Right.
And it's established that, hey, if you're here, people are going to go up to you and ask if you want to buy some raffle tickets.
Sure.
Like that would be much easier for me to do.
Right. But it wouldn't work for the raffle, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you got to make sure they're all sold before we can guarantee any prizes.
Yeah. But like just going up to people I know or don't know in everyday life and being like, hey, do you want to buy something? I hate that. Like I could never, ever be a salesperson.
Right. That's what my lady friend, she doesn't work with me, but she works in a different bar for a different company.
Yeah.
But I gave her like 5 booklets of raffle tickets. Here, you sell these.
Could you do this for me?
Yeah, she did. Easy. No problem at all. She can
get that done.
She has no problem just walking up to people and turning on the charm and saying, hey, you want a raffle ticket? And then be going, oh, yeah, I do.
That was me in high school. For like, if we had to raise money for like speech, it was like pulling teeth for me, like going around and like selling chocolate or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I despised that. I don't think I ever performed well when it comes to amount sold. The trick, at least in terms of me going out and actively doing it, what usually ended up happening is I would give the box to my dad, and my dad would just put it on the counter in the break room at work.
Right, and he'd buy it. or no, he'd have them buy them at work.
Yeah. Okay, it'd just be like here are the prices. Just put this put some money in this envelope here, and have some chocolate. And that's usually how that went. Just because I fucking hated doing that. It made me uncomfortable. And the same went for in college. There was a class that was mandatory where we had to secure donations for the yearly auction, the yearly televised auction. And I really despised doing that.
The MSU auction?
Because I had to, I would have to go around town and like talk to all these, business owners, talk to all these real whole ass adults.
Yeah, who are doing their job.
And be like, hey, do you want to give us some stuff? I can't do that. It's that's just not in my wheelhouse. I can sell some stuff for you.
Sure.
In the sense that you can tell me some things about a thing that you have, and I can make some words sound real good and put them on the radio, and I'll do a good job of that.
Sure.
I mean,
I've got awards for that shit.
I can't be Don Draper.
Right.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not that charming, but put a microphone in front of me. I can do that. Don't ask me to like go out and ask people to buy something.
No, yeah.
I can't do that.
But if you've turned on the radio, you've established the relationship we've had. Yeah, you know that you're going to hear me talking about this gas station down in the corner.
Exactly. There's you're listening to the radio. There's going to be commercials, and that's how it goes.
Right.
Yeah. And like you said, it's very much I know how I would react if this happened to me, and I wouldn't want it. Because also I wouldn't want it, but also I would end up buying something.
Right. Because
just out of like, go away.
Yeah.
Here's some money. Give me your fucking thing and leave me alone. Because that's the nicer alternative than just being like, I don't want it. Leave me alone. Like, to me, I'm like, I still want to get this person out of my face as fast as possible, but I don't want to be mean to them. So I'll buy their thing and then tell them to go away.
You know what's really fun to do when it comes to a raffle? Because they use the stubs of the raffle and they put them in a thing and they pull those stubs out. The one time I enjoy it's delicious buying a raffle ticket is to give them the money for the ticket. Then you write your name on the stub, and then they tear the ticket off. They hand it to you. You tear it up into little bits.
Just like, I don't even want to win.
I don't even want to win.
I don't even want whatever it is you've got.
I dare you to pull that number out because I won't have the ticket.
This is just good luck. You're gonna have to go again. Sorry, there's no ticket. I don't know what happened to it. Can't prove that I'm the ticket holder.
Right.
So no. I don't know if I would do that because if you can win something, I'll probably want what can be won. Mm-hmm. I usually enter my name into like stuff at the state fair. When people when we have people come by the tent or whatever, and there's a thing to win, I'm like, why not? Because I never win anything. I don't know if I've ever won like a raffle or anything like that.
I have not.
But maybe. And if it's free, fuck it. I don't care. Like I'm probably not going to buy a raffle ticket necessarily, just apropos of nothing. But if it's free, fuck yeah.
The only time I've ever won a game that nature is at a grade school playing bingo.
And did you get anything for winning?
I've won twice in that respect. I haven't played we play a lot of bar bingo around here.
Yeah, for the amount of like bingo games for real prizes you have been involved in your life.
Right. I've never played. I've never been to either end of it. I never held a dauber.
You're always in charge.
Yeah, I'm always calling the game. But at school, I've won, a free pizza and a turkey.
Nice.
So, yeah.
You won. Wait, like a whole turkey?
A whole frozen butterball turkey.
At school?
Yeah, because they were donated by the local grocery store to raise money for the PTA. It's like the same thing you did at MSU, but at the elementary school.
But I'm just imagining giving a whole turkey to a high school or to an elementary schooler and just being like
with the idea that they're mom and dad.
Yeah. But that's just interesting. Like I get why, but also it just feels weird to be like, hey kids, do you want to win a whole turkey? And they're like, no, not really.
Well, the kids would because mom and dad bought the card.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to play bingo. I bought you this card for $1. You play this and
win that fucking turkey.
Win that fucking turkey.
I didn't go to the grocery store. We're running out of time.
Yeah, we got one box of stovetop and some green beans.
It's going to be a shitty Thanksgiving if you don't win this fucking turkey, Billy. You don't want it to be a shitty Thanksgiving, do you? Your grandma's coming.
Yeah.
And she won't be around for too much longer.
Right. And she's been dead for 2 years. Yeah.
But anyway, do we want to talk about Fit for an Autopsy? Okay. Speaking of grandma.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Good Lord.
That's bad.
Yeah.
That's bad. So Fit For An Autopsy is an American deathcore band from Jersey City, New Jersey. They were founded back in 2008 and been making music since then. This is their fourth studio album. Their second with vocalist Joe Badalato came out in 2017. And I remember this was the second of their studio albums that I was like on board for. Because I remember I think I came on board for Absolute Hope, Absolute Hell. I remember seeing like posts about that on Reddit at the time and was like, oh, this looks like it's pretty good. And then I got into their previous album with their previous vocalist, which is called Hellbound. And I really liked that. Absolute Hope, Absolute Hell is kind of okay. Like it's one of those albums that I've never really felt any pull to go back to.
Right.
Like it's not bad, but it was sort of the start of their shift towards a somewhat different sound. And it wasn't really like all that well realized. This album, I think, does a much better job. Fucking shit or get off a pot, cat. Jump up here or don't. She's being a nuisance tonight.
She is kind of being...
She's anyway, the cat.
She never jumps in my lap.
She doesn't. She does not choose to interact with anyone but me, generally speaking. But in any case, yeah, this album came out then a little while after Absolute Hope, Absolute Hell, about 2 years later. And I remember being pretty excited for it. The first single they dropped, I think, was a very good choice of a first single.
From this?
Which was Heads Will Hang.
Yes.
I think that was a magnificent choice for the first single, and like hey, this is the sound that we're doing from here on out. There had been a little bit of a few inklings of like them sort of pursuing this. What I've heard referenced sort of time and time again as a very sort of Gojira influenced sound. I think the main reason for that is just the use of pick scrapes.
Right.
People are like, the Gojira thing.
Wait, Gojira uses pick scrapes?
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while?
Yeah. I don't know why people consider it a hallmark of their sound.
Maybe every other album they'll put a pick scrape.
Yeah, just one.
Yeah.
And you have to wait for it. They had been involved in a split EP, a 3-way split EP called The Depression Sessions before then, which included, it was 3 bands. Each of them produced a original song and then did a cover of some other song. The first, or that one was Fit For An Autopsy, Thy Artist Murder, and The Acacia Strain.
Gotcha.
And then they very recently actually did like a sort of sequel to that, with also with Thy Artist Murder, but with a different third band that I'm not familiar with. And I haven't listened to that too much, but in the Depression Sessions, their song was like the first one that Joe Bettolato did any like clean vocals for.
Sure.
And people were like, "Oh, is this kind of what their sound is going to be from going on from this point on?" And it was.
Was it? Because he only does like clean vocals on like one song on here.
Yeah, really. But I mean, there's not a lot of straight up clean vocals necessarily, but there's a lot more melody in his vocals in general. He does that sort of like. That sort of like yelled, perhaps it could be called yellody.
Yellody.
And it's a thing that a number of other metal bands have done. It's a thing that Gojira does a lot, where like it's at a certain point in their discography, it's kind of hard to call Joe Duplantier's vocals like screamed or growled. Really, He does this sort of half scream but still sort of melodic sing thing.
He's not a kid anymore.
Yeah, but Joe Bettolato kind of started doing that as well, and they continued to do that, and also have had a somewhat mellower, or perhaps the more appropriate term would be more morose sound.
Sure.
Like mellower is not quite the right term, because this is still very high impact music.
Yes, it is.
For sure. But and it was present on Absolute Hope, Absolute Hell as well, of this, slightly more low key kind of morose take on deathcore, but still big smashing riffs. But big heavy riffs, heavy breakdowns, and they've kind of continued just doing that sort of thing. And this was, I think this is really like their first like, hey, let's pay attention to these guys type album.
Right.
Like Heads Will Hang, and then later Black Mammoth were I think pretty big sort of like releases of like, oh hey, these guys are worth like paying attention to.
Take a look at them
on a genre level, like sort of establish them as being among the pantheon of like high tier deathcore bands, along with bands like Thy Artist Murder and Whitechapel and whatnot. They were sort of put them up on that tier, more or less. But
I really enjoy a good Bettolato every now and then. I like a good chocolate Bettolato.
What is that?
Isn't that like an ice cream kind of thing?
Maybe. I don't know. I wish I could go on this tangent with you, but I don't. I can't. I don't know enough. I don't know enough to go down this tangent.
All right. We'll move on then.
We'll move on then to something else, I guess. Does this album slap?
Yeah, it slaps.
It sure does. I feel like there's not a ton to talk about necessarily, because it's like this album's fucking good. It's good, but it's not so good in any way that like makes it go like, oh my God, we really got to talk about all this stuff that happened in this album. It's so fucking good. Like,
I mean, they have a lot of socially conscious stuff in there.
Well, and that's something that I did want to bring up at some point, which is the song Black Mammoth is specifically about the North Dakota oil industry.
Yeah.
And the music video in particular referenced the at the time ongoing protests in the southern part of North Dakota,
Standing Rock,
down on the Standing Rock Reservation. Because again, this came out in 2017, and that was happening fall of 2016 into over the winter into 2017.
Right,
was when that was going on. And it was, an event of national prominence. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where, like, when you're from North Dakota, I feel like you have to feel a little ashamed when the only time we have been nationally relevant in like the last decade is because, there was a massive protest. People who were just concerned that their fucking drinking water might be contaminated by oil. And we were like, how dare you?
Right.
Like, come on. I understand. There's nuance. There's a lot of stuff that happened.
Right.
But that's the basic gist of it. And it's like, come on. And it's, if it was so cut and dry, why is that shit still going on in this? Not that the protest isn't still going on, but the government is still trying to figure out if it is a good idea or not.
Right.
And it seems like they're leaning on, no, probably not.
Yeah, they're coming up with alternative ideas.
Yeah.
Is what they're trying to do, it looks like.
One of which is moving the pipeline crossing to north of Bismarck, which I wonder how much push. Get the fuck off of the desk. You have never, ever been allowed to be up there.
I'm sorry, Kale. I just looked like it was somewhere I wanted to be, and it was comfortable, and I apologize for crawling.
She is determined to piss me off tonight.
Ooh, the spray
bottle got brought. She's bound and determined to be on my computer desk, a place I have never allowed her to be. I don't know why she thinks she needs to be up there. Every single time she has ever tried to get up there, I have stopped her.
I've actually, today I heard about a piece of software that was developed in the 1990s specifically to make sure your cat doesn't uninstall shit on you. Yeah. I can't remember, something paused or something. Yeah. Are you a cat?
Anyway, back to the political stuff I was talking about.
Yeah.
Before my cat tried to jump on my fucking keyboard.
They were talking about actually just using the Missouri River itself
to flow the oil downstream.
Yeah, because it'll float on top of the water.
But if they do end up being like, oh, well, the best alternative is moving the pipeline crossing north of Bismarck. I wonder how much pushback there's going to be on that when suddenly all the people in Bismarck are like, well, you can't put it up there. We're white.
That'll hurt. That might hurt our drinking water.
That might hurt. I have concerns about our drinking water. Yeah, so did they. Yeah, but we're white. So it's different. I don't know. Well, let's stop talking about this and move on to
when the bulb burns out.
All of the other much more fun, less depressing songs on this album. When the bulbs burn out, of course, being about climate change.
Right.
Just a number of other kind of depressing songs here. This album definitely did have like I haven't gone back to this album at large very much.
Yeah.
I listen to Heads Will Hang fairly regularly because it has I think not my favorite. I don't know if I could tell you what specifically is my favorite breakdown, but this one is definitely in my top 10 of like my favorite breakdowns in any song ever. It is just like so fucking big and
musical
heavy.
Breakdown.
Yeah, like it's so big and so heavy.
Right.
It's just glorious, and I turn whatever I'm listening to at the time, I will turn it up as loud as it can reasonably go without being painful or rude.
Right.
to get the most out of that breakdown, because it's just fucking fantastic. But I haven't gone back to this album at large, but it did, like, just the name of it sort of stuck with me. And so when I was making like a D&D setting and wanted there to be some sort of big apocalyptic cataclysm that happened at some point in the past,
the Great Collapse.
As is a tradition for D&D settings, you have to have some big horrible thing that happened in the past for there to be a reason that there are so many ruins strewn across the world that adventurers can explore to find treasure in. Like, there has to be a reason for that.
That's just a fantasy trope in any kind of story.
Is the sort of the time, like it's in the Lord of the Rings, like these earlier ages that have long since passed, and these destroyed ruins and the glory of the old days. Like it's already in there in the Lord of the Rings, and that idea of being able to experience like a time abyss of like this thing in your world, is that you're interacting with is from 6,000 years ago.
Right.
And there are people that are alive from that time too, that you can interact with and be like, I was there.
From the Second Age.
I was there, Gandalf. Like, having those moments. And so I was like, I don't know why particularly. I was like, oh, hey, the Great Collapse would be a good term for that. It was just, from this album, sort of stuck with it. It is also, that's the word for word also used for in the Elder Scrolls, describing whatever weird earthquake destroyed most of Winterhold in Skyrim.
And caused the dwarves to disappear.
That's a different event.
Is that a different event?
The thing with Winterhold happened in like the Fourth Age. The thing that caused the Dwemer to disappear is like thousands of years in the past.
Right.
I can't remember what they refer to that as.
Yeah, because Winterhold is a shithole.
Yeah, there's 3 houses and then the college.
Yeah, and the burnt remains.
Like, why not? It's a frozen hellhole with 3 houses and a college. It's the deep lore of the Elder Scrolls, by the way, is so fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
Like, you can scratch the surface of some of it in Skyrim, and there's some books that make reference to it, but like the shit that they just put in the game that you have to interact with in Morrowind is absolutely fucking wild. Like,
I've never played Morrowind.
It's so it's like it's like a esoteric fantasy book, like level of deep lore, like and crazy like metaphysical stuff. The concept of chim, which for some reason is always spelled in capital letters. This idea that you can meditate so hard that you understand the true meaning of the universe and understand that you are actually not real and the entire universe exists within the dream of some sort of sleeping godhead.
Yeah.
And coming to understand that you are simply a figment of this being's imagination as part of this dream, and having the force of will to not wink out of existence because you've just realized you're not real.
Yeah.
Then like having the force of will to not cease existing lets you basically like it basically lets you turn on God mode and like start using cheat codes basically.
Nice.
And that's how like that's how like Tiber Septim became a god basically. Gotcha. Is by doing that shit. Like there's all kinds of wild stuff in the Elder Scrolls that has slowly sort of gotten more and more in the past and sort of hidden because Bethesda is fucking lazy. Anyhow, when I was thinking back to like video games and stuff, when I was like, okay, what game do I want to play next? Starfield didn't even pop into my head of like options for a game I could buy to start playing. Like, I just have no interest in playing Starfield.
It has Bethesda on it.
It's like, I mean, they kind of have lost my trust for making decent games, at least, ones that they have actually like developed.
Right.
They still publish plenty of great games, but their actual in-house development stuff, I just kind of don't care about anymore. And every single thing I've seen about Starfield it just looks really bland. And I just don't care.
You know what I'm actually interested in and I haven't been interested in one of these games in a long time, from Rockstar, put out a trailer. They're putting out a trailer. I've seen glimpses of the trailer for GTA 6.
I haven't heard a single thing about this, so I'm wondering if you saw some stuff that was maybe not real, because I have not heard a single mention of it.
You haven't heard anything about GTA 6?
No, I haven't heard.
There's going to be a female protagonist.
Okay, so there is actually some news about this. Apparently, there's actually some honest to God real rumbles, because here's why I'm so suspicious of that, is because there's been like people like, oh, have you seen they're gonna release a GTA 6 trailer. They've been doing that for nearly a fucking decade. Ever since GTA 5 came out
10 years ago,
there's been like here's some stuff from GTA 6. Like, that's fake. That's not real.
Rumor has it that this is the most expensive video game ever.
I mean, that's just how Rockstar rolls these days. Like, that's just how they make games as of late, is like, we're going to spend an insane amount of money on this. Because they will probably make even more money on it.
Right.
But I don't know. I really kind of hope they sort of do a... GTA 5 didn't really have a lot of staying power in my mind.
Right.
I played through the whole thing once and kind of went, I don't need to experience any of that again.
Well, the main characters weren't...
All of them were deeply unlikable.
Yeah.
They were just pieces of shit, entertaining pieces of shit, but pieces of shit. Like none of them were likable whatsoever. Trevor's literally a psychopath. Michael is an asshole who's a terrible father, and Franklin is just fucking boring. Like they're fun to watch, but you can't get invested in them in the way that one might get invested in a John Marston or a
CJ
or a Arthur Morgan, or even CJ, or like Nico from GTA 4. Nico Bellic is a good damn character. He's got some pathos to him. So I hope they go back to the slightly grittier tone that GTA 4 had.
Well, I saw like bits of it were leaked, and first of all, the look of it. I mean, it's you're watching it, and it's on this side of the uncanny valley.
Because it's so realistic,
so photorealistic.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder how that's gonna shake out for them, in terms of like, because we're getting to that level where like you can kind of get if you're going for too photorealistic and you don't stylize it a bit, you start getting into the uncanny valley where something looks too realistic, but your brain goes, that's not real, and that bothers me.
Well, yeah,
and that's creepy,
right? Because
it looked like we know it should be real, but it isn't. So I don't know. Like photorealism is neat, but also.
I think with the actual human representation, they're not doing completely real, but like the buildings on the terrain and the vehicles. Those things are photoreal.
I mean, they've been doing that for a while in terms of like taking pictures of real buildings in the places that they're trying to emulate, and then just kind of putting those buildings one to one in the video game. Like they took extensive survey photos of like all of LA for GTA 5. And also they actually did surveys of some towns in North Dakota for the like 15-minute opening segment of GTA 5 where you were in a place that is meant to be like North Dakota.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, do you know what towns they
were out in Medora.
Oh, they were in Medora.
They actually took like scans of like Medora Police Department uniforms. Or probably Sheriff's Department, but like they took like photos and scans of like police uniforms to use for because you're doing like a bank robbery, or it's I think it is technically a bank, but there's also like there's another element to it, a place that has a lot of money. It's again, I played through it once a decade ago when it came out. Rockstar.
Before they go to the bank heist, do they the pitchfork fondue? Do they do that?
Yeah, they went to the pitchfork.
They
fondue.
go to the musical.
It's for sure. But yeah, and like the place is the place doesn't look like Medora. The place looks like I don't know, Hebron. Or like Harvey, like it's just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. There's just flat farmland all around, and it's winter, so there's a lot of snow as well.
Sure.
And then you come up on some buildings, and you go into one of the buildings, and it's a bank. But anyhow, back to the album we were talking about. Does this slap?
Yes. We determined that.
Very much so. Yeah. It does slap.
Yes.
Out of 5 reviews, this had an 88. Out of 100. It would be weird if it was an 88 out of 200. That would be a weird review scale.
It got an 88 out of 1 million.
Yes. 88 out of 100. What's your favorite song on this album?
I mean, it's hard to beat Heads Will Hang, but I mean...
Yeah, it is. It really is hard to beat.
And Black Mammoth is great.
I wrote down Black Mammoth, but really it could be interchangeable. And those are the 2 songs that like I would go back to on this album.
Right.
But on a re-listen, I found like When the Bulbs Burn Out is a really goddamn good song.
Yeah, it is.
So is Empty Still and Spiral. Spiral is also a really, really good song.
That's the final track.
Sort of this partially, I kind of chose this album. I was like, I haven't listened to this whole album in a really long time. I've listened to 2 songs off of this album over and over and over again. I'd kind of forgotten about the entire rest of it. Let's reacquaint myself with that. And it's good stuff. It's good stuff.
It is.
It's worth my time. What medal are you bestowing upon this album? Like Maz Kanata,
it's a high silver for me.
Yeah. I think I agree with you on that. It's like if you were to condense this album down to its best songs, then you'd call it a gold.
Right.
And it's not that the songs outside of the very best ones are bad. It's just that I don't know if the overall aggregate is like enough to bring it up to a gold.
This is a very good album.
This is very good.
Yeah.
I think I like Sea of Tragic Beasts and Oh What the Future Holds better than this one. I think Fit For An Autopsy has just gotten better and better and better as time has gone on.
Cool.
And I hope they continue to do so. I would love to see, because it was 2020. Sea of Tragic Beasts came out. No, it was 2022. It was early 2022 when Sea of Tragic Beasts came out, I think.
Right. When we talked about it.
Yeah. So I would expect sometime next year, probably a new album. They seem to do roughly every 2 years with a new album. They have pretty damn steady output. So hopefully something in 2024, but we'll see. So next week, what do we want to talk about?
Next week, by the way, I'm going to, if you can find a way to get me a list of all the albums we've talked about over the last 5 years, that'd be great.
You can just search whatever service you could use to listen to our podcasts. You can just search.
All right, I'll have to figure out how to do that. But I do know that one thing I have not brought was an album from the birth of crossover thrash metal.
Okay.
From 1985, which you might not be able to find on Spotify. The album Dealing With It by the Dirty Rotten Imbeciles.
Yeah, I don't know anything at all about that or them. You've said the name of that band to me before, and I went, who?
Yeah.
The Dirty Rotten Imbeciles.
DRI, right.
DRI. Okay. Dealing With It. By DRI next week.
They're like, I think 30 songs on this album.
What the fuck?
No, I'm not telling you it's a long listen.
Sort of a grindcore type deal.
Kinda. Only it's more hardcore than grindcore.
Okay. I mean, there's a gradient in that area of music of short, fast, intense songs of grindcore to hardcore punk and power violence and whatnot. There's sort of a whole kind of gradient to it. So yeah, that's next week. Until then, why don't you go ahead and follow us on various social media sites? Really, it's just 2. It's Facebook and
Twitter. Are we on Twitter anymore? X.
It's the one that's gonna give it to you. Yes, we're still on that. I was just trying to come up with something to call it.
Sure.
Other than what it's called now, because I just think it's stupid that they changed the name at all.
I think it'd be great if they have different versions of it. You had X, and then you had one that was some sort of a lighter version with, just lighter would be X over easy.
X over.
Yeah.
Well, they should have, there should be because I know Elon Musk has been talking about various different premium plans. I feel like there should be X, and then there should be XX, and there should be XXX.
Yeah. So go ahead and get on your computers.
XXX is just Twitter already. Because there's just porn all over the place on Twitter.
Is it really?
Yeah.
God, I haven't been on Twitter for a very long time.
They have they're the only major social media site that doesn't have any real major compunctions about not safe for work content.
So it's the Wild West.
Yeah. There is age restriction stuff where if your profile is not set that you are over the age of 18, you won't be able to see things. But so long as you can enable that, and there are people who just post all kinds of porn. It's just straight up pornography.
You know what? It was kind of like that before Elon got there a little bit. Because,
it absolutely was.
Yeah,
that's always been a thing with Twitter.
Because I actually have an old friend of mine who did porn, and
you do.
She has pictures of herself on her.
I mean, look, when you are a part of the sex industry, you need some sort of avenue to promote yourself.
Sure.
And Twitter has been that avenue for quite some time.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're on there.
Yes, our porn is on Twitter.
This might be pornographic for somebody, but
everybody's got their kink.
I mean, I won't judge, but
nerdy guys talking about their favorite albums.
Sometimes. Most of the time, they just talk about whatever pops into their head.
Right.
And what's popping into my head right now is the end of the episode.
Okay.
So go ahead and stop listening. Yeah, I was going to say, go ahead and follow us. We just did that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Bronze Medalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations.
Bye.